Hey, I'm RPG Jod, and today I'm checking out Shadow Dungeon. The developers describe it as a retro-inspired action RPG with loot, progression, and 2.5D visuals, though honestly, after playing it, I'd probably call it an action roguelike bullet hell ARPG hybrid. It's currently targeting a Q3 2026 release, so if what you're about to see interests you, definitely throw it on your wishlist. Going into this, I wasn't expecting much. The screenshots looked interesting, but within about 30 seconds of starting the game, I realized exactly what they were going for. This thing is Diablo 2, or at least it's trying very, very hard to be. The town immediately reminded me of Diablo 2's starting area. The UI feels heavily inspired by Diablo. There are waypoints. The area names are suspiciously familiar. Instead of the cold plains, you're heading into places like the Misty Plains. The soundtrack has that same lonely acoustic atmosphere. It's not Tristram, but it's close enough that you'll immediately know what inspired it. My first few minutes were a little rough. The attack buttons didn't seem to work properly, which turned out to be because I hadn't assigned a skill. I ended up running back to town thinking I'd missed a quest or some kind of tutorial trigger. Once I got moving, though, more similarities started appearing everywhere. The inventory system feels extremely Diablo-inspired. The stash feels familiar. Itemization feels familiar. Some item names even reminded me of Path of Exile. The entire structure of the game feels like somebody sat down and asked, what if Diablo 2 and Vampire Survivors had a baby? The biggest difference is combat. Rather than fighting small groups of enemies like traditional Diablo, Shadow Dungeon throws huge packs at you. The screen fills with monsters. It feels almost like you've opened the cow level and never closed it. The enemies aren't spawning infinitely, but the density is absolutely massive. Early on, the progression is fairly simple. Most upgrades are straightforward increases to your abilities. More damage, better fireballs, larger effects. At first I was thinking, okay, this is fun, but where's the depth? Then I hit level 4. Suddenly my fireball gained an explosion effect, and the game transformed from carefully targeting enemies one by one into detonating entire packs at once. From that point onward, everything clicked. One thing I noticed early was that mana management barely exists. Despite having mana potions and health potions, I never really found myself running out of resources while spamming abilities. What did confuse me was potion management. At least initially, I couldn't find a way to bind potions directly to the action bar. I was opening my inventory and manually clicking them whenever I needed one. Speaking of inventory management, I spent an embarrassingly long time looking for the inventory hotkey. Every ARPG veteran has muscle memory for I, B, or C. Nope. It's E. Once I finally learned the key binds, the entire experience became significantly smoother. And that's where Shadow Dungeon started winning me over. Because beneath all the obvious inspirations is a genuinely addictive progression loop. Loot drops constantly. Build options start opening up. You can store gear for other characters. You can experiment with different setups. And before I realized it, I was 10 plus stages deep into the demo. The funny thing is, I kept expecting the demo to end. Every time I unlocked a new area, I thought, okay, surely this is where they stop. But it just kept going. More stages, more loot, more progression, more content. I originally planned to play until I reached the final boss, and then wrap up the video. That didn't happen. Not because I couldn't beat it, because the demo just kept expanding. Eventually I completed Chapter 1, which by itself contains somewhere around 15 or 16 separate stages. And that's when it really hit me how generous this demo actually is. Now to be clear, this isn't Diablo 2 in terms of polish. Your character's appearance doesn't change when you equip new gear. The production values aren't at Blizzard's level. There aren't elaborate cinematics. There isn't deep lore being presented every few minutes. But what it does have is gameplay. Excellent gameplay. The itemization is surprisingly detailed, with skill modifiers, stat bonuses, and gear interactions that feel closer to Path of Diablo or Path of Exile than a simplified indie ARPG. The combat has the satisfying screen-clearing chaos of Vampire Survivors. The progression loop captures that classic Diablo feeling of always chasing one more level, one more item, one more build. And somehow it all works. By the time I reached Chapter 2, I was convinced the demo would finally stop me. Nope. The game basically said, keep going. And I happily did. Honestly, this is one of the easiest recommendations I've made in a long time. Yes, it borrows heavily from Diablo 2. In some places, very heavily. But let's be honest, For years, people have searched for games that recreate the feeling of Diablo 2 and come away disappointed. Shadow Dungeon doesn't hide its influences. It embraces them. Then it combines them with the fast-paced combat and progression systems of modern survival-style games. The result is something that feels familiar while still being genuinely fun. This is exactly the kind of game I can see exploding once streamers and content creators discover it. The system requirements are low. The gameplay loop is addictive. The demo is absurdly generous. And the one more run factor is incredibly strong. For me, this went from a game I was mildly curious about to an instant wishlist edition. I'll be buying it when it launches. If you're a Diablo fan, a Vampire Survivors fan, or somebody who spent years searching for a game that scratches that old-school ARPG itch, I think you owe it to yourself to at least try the demo. Shadow Dungeon is a hidden gem, and if the full release delivers on what I've played so far, I don't think it's going to stay hidden for very long.